On occasion, when writing a script for Maya, you may have the need to access one of Maya's global mel variables. Inside of mel, this is extremely easy. You simply declare the variable name as a global, and then you automatically get access to it. In the example on screen, I'm getting the global variable for Maya's playback slider, and that's simply using the global keyword followed by the type, which is a string, and then the name of that global variable. And once I've declared that variable, I can use it inside my procedure. So here I'm simply using that variable with the time control command. And this allows me to query the currently selected time range. Just to quickly demonstrate this, if I run the script, you'll see that it's returning an array, the value of 1 and 2. So what's happening inside of Maya is that my time slider is currently set to frame 1. So this would be the start frame up to the end frame, which is frame 2. To make this a little more clear, I'll actually select a range. So I'll start at frame 4, then holding down the Shift key to drag across, I'll select all the way up to frame 14. So this is up to and including frame 14. When I run the script now, you'll see that my time range is from frame 4 to frame 15. And that's really all there is to it. But in order for the time control command to work, I need to be able to access this global variable. So let's see how we do this inside of Python. I'll start by creating a new tab. And then just to make it a little clearer, I'll do a side-by-side comparison. To begin with, I'll need my imports, so I need Maya commands, as well as Maya mel. Next, I'll create a function, as I did with my global procedure in mel. So I'm going to do def selected range, so the first thing I'm going to need is my global variable. So I'm going to call this playback slider. And right now we don't know what this is, so I'm just going to leave this as an empty string, and I'm going to fill out the rest of this function. So I'm simply going to get my range array and store it in the variable range array. And I'm going to do commands.timeControl. This really is the exact same as the mel command that we used earlier. And now I have to pass in the global variable for the playback slider. Next, I want to query this command, and I want to query the range array. Finally, I'm just going to return that range array. So now the question is, how do I get the global mel variable inside of Python? For this, we'll be using the mel eval function. Now, if you recall, when using the mel eval, this will always return the results of the command being run. So to start out, we'll just do mel eval, and I'll pass in just an empty string. So this isn't going to return anything yet. In fact, if I try to run this, you'll see that I get nothing. Now you might automatically think that you can just pass in the global variable name and it will return the value. Unfortunately, this isn't the case. If I try to run this snippet of code, I'm going to get an error. And this is because I can't simply execute a variable name inside of mel and get the value back. So I have to take it one step further, and I actually need to assign this variable to another variable inside of my mel command. So I'm just going to call it temp var equals, and then my global playback slider. When I run this block of code now, you can see that the result returned is the value of the global playback slider variable. And this is because when you make an assignment inside of Mel, the result returned is actually the value of the variable. Just as a quick example, if I was to create an int variable and assign it a value of 10, if I run this single line of code, you'll see that I get a result in my output window of 10. So with that, our function is complete. The results of the mel eval call are being stored in our playback slider, which we can now use in our time control command. So just to finish this up, to make this the same as our mel example, I'm going to call selected range. So if I just store the function in memory, I can now execute the selected range call, and you'll see that my result is a Python array that matches the results from our mel procedure. So to summarize, to get a mel global variable in Python, you simply use the mel.eval command and assign that global variable to a new temporary variable. So in this case, I'm just going to reuse the temp var, and this time I'm going to retrieve Maya's main window. So this is going to be G main window. When I execute this line of code, you'll see that my result returned is Maya window, which is the name given to Maya's main window.